Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community, from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Here we go. We'll do it again for the second time. Welcome back to Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. I'm your host, Dr. John Rich Levine, and today we're dialing in on the energy behind leadership, the kind that isn't just about command or strategy or even authority, but the quiet, aligned power that drives transformation. This is season 2 of episode 9 of our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness. Today's title is Awakening the Leader Within: Energy, Influence, and Inclusive Impact. If you joined us last Friday, let's to be specific, on our episode 8, we talked about energy alignment. It is about how intention, action, and frequency shape how you show up at work, in your family, in your society, and anywhere else. But then today we ask the next level question. Once you're aligned in that level of energy, what kind of leader do you become? And before we dive in, I've got a big announcement. I'll be speaking at the Becker's Health meeting in Chicago this April 28, 29, 30, and May 1, to be specific. And I'm joining behind a powerful keynote lineup, one of whom is today's special guest. And that special guest is here with us today. She is not only a nationally recognized leader, speaker, and mentor, she is also a force for inclusive excellence and high impact healthcare transformation. I'm talking about my mentor, former boss, and friend, Dr. Mila Sprouse, who currently serves as Chief Nursing Officer for Providence Health in the Seattle area, where she oversees clinical operations, drives workforce engagement, and leads with both strategic clarity and deep humanity. She's been instrumental in transforming multi-site systems, elevating patient outcomes, and guiding organizations through magnet journeys, workforce redesign, and major culture shifts. And of course, you'll also see her at Becker's Health meeting in Chicago, where she'll be delivering one of the keynote sessions on reimagining leadership in today's healthcare leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sprouse.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Rich. I am so glad to be here. I'm just ecstatic to be included in your podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, and I cannot contain my excitement, as you probably can see. But the other piece is that I'm also excited to know that I will be going to Chicago with someone I know and just worked tremendously in the past as far as what we did, what we accomplished. And I'll be speaking on two topics. One, nurse retention in 2025 and beyond. And that is about top strategic initiatives for a sustainable workforce. And the second one, also one of my favorite topics, forging exceptional nursing teams of tomorrow. And you, Dr. Rich, knows what that is. So I am excited to go to Chicago at Becker's Health, as well as I'm excited to have this conversation with you on my favorite topics.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for gracing our episode today. And I know that you will agree that this is not your last. This is just the beginning of our partnership in this podcast. Every now and then, I know you are a busy executive, but every now and then you'll find time. Please feel free to come in and join us. Let's jump in. Okay, so Dr. Sprouse, you've led through some of the most complex moments in healthcare through the pandemic, post pandemic burnout, union negotiations, workforce rebuilding. Now, in all of that, how has energy been part of your leadership toolkit?
Well, energy has been the cornerstone of how I lead. I believe that with energy, you'll inspire a lot of things. But first and foremost, whatever the situation is, one has to maintain their composure, right? Whether it's in a crisis situation or just a mellowed um, environment. And that is so important because you drive the direction of your team by your attitude and your composure. One of the things that I have done all these years that I continue to share is really about managing personal energy. What does that look like? Well, we've heard about the work life balance that we have to maintain. That is so true, even though it has become a cliche to everyone, to a lot of people. I shouldn't say everyone. Work life balance is so important. And the reason why is that we spend so much time in our workplace, and we need to be able to balance that with what we do with our family. So, for example, for me, I work a lot of hours, but on the weekends, on a Saturday, I jump in a car with my favorite husband, and I call him my favorite husband of 41 years. And we drive and see places. That to me is my work life balance. The other thing about energy is that you want to be able to take that energy to motivate your team. For example, in a crisis situation where we've been in so many instances, like the pandemic, or even a threat for a strike, or anything related to quality and safety, standing in front of your team has to be an energy driving force. And the reason why is that they look up to you. You have to model the energy of, we can do this. And that's one thing that I've always said. No matter how bad the situation is, when you're in front of your team and the staff, You have to exude positivity. You have to exude hope, because if you do not, then the negative energy actually is going to go in. Another part of energy to me is creating a positive work environment, fostering collaboration. How would you like to walk into the organization, walking into the elevator, and no one actually is putting their head up? Everyone is in their phone and not saying hello. I remember one day when I actually walked into the elevator and everyone was in their phone, and I said, "Hello, good morning, everyone." And it just shook them up and looked at me. And then, after about 5 second pause, everyone smiled and say hello. Well, collaboration is so important, and that energy has to be infused. The other piece is that with the energy comes innovation as well as adaptability. How can you inspire someone to think creatively and innovate ideas if you are not injecting energy into the conversation? I'm not saying you're running around like crazy, but you have to mean what you say, and you act the way that everyone sees you as the force to get things done. You have to model that. I remember I had a leader before that we were celebrating something, but she was like delivering like a slice of pizza that was not edible. How can you inspire people? And so, with everything that is happening, one of the lessons that I have shared with my leaders before is that even the little positive advantage, a little improvement, leverage that to create energy so that people continue to work on improving the things that they are doing. So, energy plays a crucial role in nursing leadership, especially in this healthcare landscape where there are so many challenges. And so we have to continue to infuse energy. And for all of us, we have to reflect on how to refill that energy, because it can actually get depleted so easily. So find a way to refill your cup.
Refuel. I like that.
Refuel, refuel, refuel. That's right.
I like that exactly. So leadership, I think, as I hear from you, starts before you even say a word. Sometimes it's just a breath of fresh energy, and then it exudes in the room. And in our academic practice, they call that executive presence, and that's why the work that we do resonates in the organization. It's not just the job; it's the presence of that particular leader. So I really like that. By the way, we are live here in our Beyond Health and Wellness podcast. This is season 2, and we are in episode 9. We are having this conversation with Dr. Mila Sprouse, awakening the leader within us, energy, influence, and inclusive impact. We are live at stream.lowin.net, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple, and Google podcasts. So if you get a chance, get a replay, ask questions, send us your questions. We'll be happy to entertain them and acknowledge you in our podcast. We've heard a lot of our followers are from Dubai. See you in November, Dubai. And we have some in Europe as well, but I'm going there in September. So see you there in Hungary. And we have people that are following us steadfastly in Mindanao, in Iloilo. We have people in Manila and in the Luzon area, northern part of Luzon, and in Cebu. We welcome you all, and most especially to our friends in Texas. So we all welcome you, and send your questions, send your comments, your personal experiences. We would love to have them, even your feedback to our program. If you like this program, subscribe, and we are happy to entertain you. We are going to our second segment, but before we do that, we'll pause for a quick reminder. We'll be right back. And we are back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, episode 9 of season 2. We are talking here about awakening the leader within us, energy, influence, and inclusive impact. And our guest today is Dr. Mila Sprouse. We're talking about her personal experiences. Mila, let's continue here. Your leadership style. We'll talk about your leadership style. I know it's deeply inclusive. By that, I mean it's whether it's engaging in frontline teams, you're supporting new grads, new staff, or designing or even redesigning systems that center on equity. What's your internal compass when leading in high stakes or high change environments?
Well, it's your purpose, right? Why you're here. But before I answer that, Dr. Rich, I want to go back to what you said before we went on a break, and that is executive presence. For a lot of people, executive presence is how you wear your clothes, how you say things, how you use the right words, how you actually walk, and how you actually get in front of others. I think executive presence is more than that. It is how you actually are connecting to your audience. And that means your team, your staff in the healthcare setting. And executive presence is not about using this high intensity words. It's simplifying the words that's going to connect your vision to your audience. Executive presence is being able to provide clarity on the goals, on the vision, and your mission, whether short term and long term. And it's going to make the team believe in what you say. And it's centered in how you actually connect and communicate your vision. That to me is executive presence. So let's talk about what grounds us with
Yes.
everything that is happening. I so believe from the very start, and that's what I operate on in everything that we do, whether it's patient safety, its quality, and even length of stay, and the finance piece of healthcare. At the center of what we do and my purpose is patient safety, delivering the care, the right care to our patients. Why I am here today is because of that. Along the way, I have grown from a staff nurse to a charge nurse, all the way to leadership. At the core of that journey is about the patients. And I will actually share a little excerpt of a speech that was delivered by Steve Jobs in in a commencement address that he delivered in California. I think it was
Stanford.
Stanford, yes.
Stanford, yes.
And he says, quote, "You have got to find what you love. And that is as true for your work as it is for your love. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you have not found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you will know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. Well, I found my first love. By the way, that's my favorite husband. My other first love is the nursing profession. And at the center of that is our patient. So in everything that I do, I'm grounded with my purpose. And that is being a nurse, delivering the best care for our patients in every position that I'm in. And there's a reason why I am a leader that I am today. And I continue to reach for the next level because the broader the scope of practice, the scope of reach of how many staff is under me, that means I'm impacting that massive number of nurses that's going to provide the care to our patients, and it will elevate nursing. That's what grounds me, my purpose.
That is awesome. I truly believe in that. By the way, there's a question that is sent here. It says, "What will happen if you thought it was great work, but ended up otherwise?" Have
Oh,
you?
that is an amazing question. That's an amazing question. And this is actually, I had a conversation with someone today that if we find something and we set our course to actually take care of that, but along the way, it did not actually turn out to be, it is okay. We can pivot when we find out that it is not the great work that we actually are looking for. It is okay. And we owe it to ourselves. We reflect on that and we say, you know what? I need to pivot and find another way to find my great work. So it's okay. It's not a failure. It's actually a discovery that, hey, I need to do something else.
I like that, and I think that's what we should be hearing most often, and that's exactly the kind of insights of a leadership we need more of, especially in the conversations in the national level. Like we're talking about Becker's conference here, and Becker's conference is it's not your ordinary. I think we have a slide that will showcase that a little bit, but it's not your ordinary conference. It is a for the Becker's conference is its 15th annual meeting in Chicago. It is not your regular conference where people attend, get some souvenirs and learn from the vendors, and they also have that. But the fact that it is attended by over 3,000 executive level attendees and in over 200 sessions makes it an enormous convention. It is a convention of all conventions, and the fact that you're speaking there makes me feel like I'm so excited to hear what you feel about uh, getting into that stage. Could you please share about your feelings as well about that in terms of being a leader in a hospital system?
Well, you eloquently said the right things about Becker's healthcare. It is attended by thousands of executives. CEOs, CNOs, directors, COOs, all the C suites. And it's sharing our experiences, right? It's sharing best practices. And it's also sharing about maybe our missteps and what we have learned along the way. I am very excited. I was so thrilled when I received the invitation. And when the second invitation was sent, I was like, wow, what a humbling experience it's going to be. It's a huge conference convention, and you can see the big names of the keynote speakers. You have Michael Phelps, right? One of them.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to have a selfie with him. I mean, that would be amazing. But really excited about it. They are the premier healthcare industry that pulls all um, C suites and director levels and every entrepreneurs that you know that they know here as well as around the world. So I'm thrilled, and I know you're thrilled as well. Plus, I will get to see you there.
I am there. I'm following your footsteps. So I'll be in the sessions that talk about the future of social determinants of health, where community hospitals fit. And I think it is fitting for me because this is the place where a lot of leaders are molded and shaped so that they can assume leadership roles such as the one you have. And it is very important to have somebody recognize that and nurture that mindset in them. And again, we're talking about energy here. It's something that you spread because energy doesn't come from outside into, it's from inside out. And that's really what we talk about when we say executive presence or just mere presence for that matter. And leadership is not doing things, but it is doing things, doing the right things in a certain way. So it's a privilege to be able to share those kinds of insights in platforms like the one we're talking about in Becker's. And I'm excited to see there as well, along with other colleagues there. And probably I will have people sign autographs so that I can bring it home as souvenirs. It is an exciting moment. And it's something that I go to other conferences and I present and I'm just, okay, this one is the one that's making me more exciting. It's like my first time because it is, and because of the kind of energy that you can just imagine that is in that room with all kinds of executives in healthcare industry, leading hospitals, operations in different kinds of fields that cater to serving people. So very great time to be there because we're talking about energy, right?
Yes, it is. It's such, by the way, your topic is so relevant right now, especially with all the things that we are having to deal with. It's to me also, and I'm sure it is to you as well. Equity is very important, and making sure that we provide the same care to everyone. I love the topic that you actually are going to present, and I'm looking forward to listening to it because I certainly can learn a lot from you.
Me too. Now, these are, I think, because we're talking about energy and it's aligning that energy. And we had this discussion in our last episode. I just want to go back to what we talked about before because we need to be able to align that energy and to earlier than that, we talked about preserving that. You preserve your energy. And I said, when you, how do you unpreserve your energy? It is when people begin to express their emotions in the most inappropriate way or in terms of being reactive and they express those emotions. It's a waste. It's wasting your energy, and your emotion is your power. That is that is something that you want to be able to control, because when it is not controlled, it's hitting a lot of things like an explosion, and it affects a lot of people, not necessarily in a good way. So you want to really be in control of that. Now, when you're in control of that, in control of what? So in control for what? Why are you controlling that? Because you're controlling that for some specific purpose. So you're very intentional. You're only going to express that energy when it is aligned in the purpose that you have. So I think that what we're trying to point out here when we talk about being intentional, being in the level of equity and all of that, is that the takeaways is that the leader who is energized, first of all, the leader has to be healthy, right? In order to survive. And the other one is that you're not just healthy physically, but you're healthy in mind and body and soul. And because of that, the takeaway is that you anchor yourself in purpose. You don't have all kinds of energy. You have a lot of energy, but it's not on purpose. Like athletes, for example, they conserve the energy for that one purpose. And then not only that, but you also regulate that energy. You give that form of energy in a certain amount that's appropriate. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with everything that you mentioned. You have that energy that's going to motivate and inspire others. Alignment is very important, and that alignment has to be grounded with your purpose. And also, that alignment has to be grounded with the vision of the organization. I always believe and I always tell myself the day that I'm not aligned with the vision and the mission of an organization is the day I will start reflecting on why I am in this position. And so, a lot of the energy that we're talking about can actually lead to great things. But first and foremost, we have to have endurance, right?
Yes.
Because hey, you're going to empty your cup when someone is sucking that energy. And as leaders, there are people that wanted to get that energy, especially if they're inspired. So, what I'm saying is that when I have to actually meet with someone, let's say a staff, who actually saw me doing a presentation and sends me an email, I love the presentation that you did. You inspired me. I want to be the same way, the same journey that you actually had. How can I get there? I love that kind of feedback. First and foremost, it reaffirms what you did. And second is that these are our future
Yeah.
leaders.
Yeah.
And so I always open myself to connect with them. I would reply and say, hey, get with my secretary and let's have a meeting. And they would usually come back and said, you want to meet with me? And I said, absolutely. I want to hear more about you. What you want to do? Where do you want to go? And they would inevitably set an appointment. But before I go to that meeting, there's some things that I have to make sure that I'm going to be grounded
You're
because
doing your homework.
it takes a lot of energy. First and foremost, for all, if you want me to talk with you, you need to feed me first. I have to have something, not only for my stomach, but my brain uses a lot of the energy from the food, especially protein. And I know that I can talk better and I can connect better when I actually have that preparation. Second, got to be in the place where it is the right place to have that conversation. And third, I will never do a conversation on Teams, on Zoom. I want to see face to face, in person. And the reason why I want them to connect with me, I want to connect with them. So everything has to be intentional.
Yeah.
And for me as well, Jen Rich, even with meeting with my leaders, I usually have a weekly meeting with my leaders in the boardroom. It's filled, no Zoom. And there's a reason for that. First and foremost, alignment. I want them to hear what is our system's goals and vision every week. And then what's the division, the region, and then what's the local. And then it also becomes a source of sharing best practices and sharing missteps and how we can actually help each other. Third, clarity on the vision that I have for nursing. This is my vision. This is where we need to go. And so everyone is going the same direction.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful. And I think that is and should be a part of executive presence.
Right.
Clarity in your vision.
Right.
And lastly, it's actually a team building time because everyone is there. They get to know each other. They get to talk with each other. And we also celebrate our anniversaries or birthdays, our childbirths and everything. And we celebrate recognition. So it's very intentional.
That is
But
awesome.
the endurance that I mentioned,
Yeah.
it applies to strategic endurance. You should not only have an immediate goal. You should have long-term as well as medium-term. Strategic endurance is going to play a role because what that is sustainability of the work that you have that's going to actually build on something bigger.
Wow.
That to me is strategic endurance.
I like that. I like that. By the way, you probably will recognize one of our viewers tonight. She is saying, "Good evening. Great seeing you again, Dr. Mila." Carly D.
Hi, Carly. How are you? This is
Nice to
so
see you
great.
here, Carly.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us tonight. And we are live here in Beyond Health and Wellness, Season 2, Episode 9. We're talking here about energy and leadership, the melting point of both concepts. But we are live all over the world. We have our followers from Dubai, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. We have also followers in Europe, particularly uh, in London and in France. I've heard somebody was in France as well. And a huge part of our viewers and followers are in Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon. Or let's do it in the other side, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao in the Philippines. Good morning to all of you. I hope you're having a good weekend today. And in Texas, we're the huge number of followers of a Filipino community in Texas as well, where we all started this Beyond Health and Wellness podcast. We are live today here, and we are also live in stream.lowen.net, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. We'll be right back after a few commercials.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon
every Friday 6:30 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate and immigration.
Engage in discussion by posting your questions or comments during the show.
See you this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 7:30 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
And we are back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich. And our guest today is Dr. Mila Sprouse, the Chief Nursing Executive of Providence Health in Seattle, Seattle State, Washington State area. Look, um, I'm mumbling your state now. And we were talking about some of the takeaways, and one of them that I would like to share was the creation of inclusive momentum. Because if you have the energy and you are in an energized leader, you want to sustain that. And how do you sustain that? By making sure that you are in alignment continuously. And there is what we call as the ability to sustain, because there is a constant surge of energy, the passion, because you're being intentional. But now we are going into our last segment of our podcast today, and we will be talking about the real work of resilient leadership and what this means. So, Mila, since you're our guest today, so you're going to answer this question. Your teams, I'm sure, have achieved some of those times record low vacancy rates, transform patient experience, and even help prevent labor strikes while improving engagements and outcomes. What's the through line for sustaining that kind of leadership energy in you?
Bringing joy in leadership, celebrate the wins, and also celebrate the missteps, and making sure that we take it as an opportunity to actually continue to improve. I love what I heard from one of the leaders last week and then today, and that was, Mila, you're a leader whisperer. And I heard the whisperer word from a horse whisperer, right? Getting people to follow you and trust you. And I believe that that is because what you see is what you get. I had a leader that told me today that she appreciated the clarity in the vision, but more importantly, is that the expectation, and also that the compassion and the empathy, just being courageous when a bad message has to come out, courageous leadership. So those things refill my cup. um, Continuing to bring joy in leadership, coaching culture is very important. You do that, Dr. Rich, very important in all that we do, because we would not be here if not for those people that coaches and
Yeah.
mentored us. Yeah. Um, Getting more energy for me is, again, spending time with my family, and also never forget where you came from.
Yeah.
Never forget how hard it was. And rather than dwell on the hardness, make it something that's going to propel you to the next level. And to this day, I actually have an executive coach because I have blind spots. And I want someone else to tell me if I'm not seeing something, to tell me that, hey, you need to step back. That has helped me along the way. And one of the things that I tell leaders in their young careers, to find a mentor that will tell you what you don't want to hear. So that to me is very important. Resiliency, being able to take on the great things and the not so great things, and always celebrate the cup that is half full, not half empty.
I like that. We have one comment here. In one word, how will you describe or define nurses?
I love that. Nurses, one word, care, caring. That's one word. That's
That's
who we
awesome.
are. That
That's
is
awesome.
who we are.
They are like, they sound like they are synonyms, right? Nurses for caring, and the nursing profession is the most trusted profession in in the world for 23 years straight, counting. Only
1 year.
dislodged,
Yeah,
only dislodged by 1 year when during the attack in New York for the
9/11. Yeah.
yes,
And
only
but
that.
yeah, Dr. Rich, don't you aren't you just like excited to be a nurse though?
I
I mean,
I am
we
excited. I'm
nurse.
excited in everything about nursing. But also, that is why I'm going to the Becker's conference, right?
That's right.
We're going to speak there. We're going to share about this profession in healthcare that for me, I bumped into it. There was an event in life that became the turning point for me from being a chemical engineer. I was doing well in chemical engineering profession, and then I switched into the healthcare profession when my father had a surgery. And he has multiple surgeries, and one of those surgeries, there was a surgical sponge that was left on his abdomen. And after two months, he didn't show any symptoms. And after that, when he began to show symptoms, they found out there was a sponge. They went back to the operating room and operate again to remove the sponge. That whole experience brought me to a reflective moment to take on the healthcare profession. Went directly to the operating room to see how it works and how I could it be prevented. I became a counts advocate, and if you see me in the operating room, that's all I need to be able to know better, to be able to make sure that nothing uh, will be left in my patient's body when they don't have to be left there. So it is not safe enough for me if it is not ridiculously safe. So that's well, I think this is where we meet, and we have the same mindset of being able to advocate for patient safety. And that's what we'll be talking in Becker's healthcare meeting in April in Chicago. And I'd like to invite our audience here. If you get the chance, go to Becker's website and register there and see us there. We'd like to see you there, and would like to share some of the things that we've experienced in healthcare industry as well. And we'd really just love to be there to experience the kind of energy that will be exploding in that area and grab some of that. So when we come back home, we could be different, and we become better than we thought we were before. Now, we are in our closing segment of this podcast today. And this time we are talking about legacy and leadership. And I'm sure that, Mila, you'll have a lot of things to share about this. When all the metrics fade, the titles are long behind you, what do you want your leadership energy to be remembered for?
Love that question. Um, they will remember me as a very bold and unstoppable leader. And what that means is that I have a fearless way of looking at things. Fearless innovation, embracing a mindset that nothing, nothing can stop us to continue to grow, to continue to innovate, and to continue to deliver safe and quality care to our patients. I told my husband my tombstone is going to be bold and unstoppable because I truly work that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Um, that is, I think that would be the heartbeat of leadership, if I may. And because I think that leadership is not something that we do, it is something that people feel. It is not something that we say or do to people, because we are remembered not because of what we did, but how we made them feel That means, how did our presence project to them? What kind of energy are we projecting to the people we lead? At one time, I was asked by one of my leaders, saying, I'm done. I don't want this anymore, because I know when I come to you, I know what you will answer, what you will tell me. You will tell me, fix yourself. Jesus, like that. So now I'm just talking here. Just listen to me. I'm just going to tell you, I'm done. I don't want to do this. It's not worth my time. Now you're going to tell me, fix it. It's not me that will be fixed. It's them that needs to be fixed. I said, well, you know what I will say. I know. And he went away. And then after some time during the day, he sent me a text and he says, it's been fixed. We fixed it. Everything is good. We amicably settled everything. Everything's resolved. We're good now. I said, what did you do? He said, I fixed myself.
I love that. I love that. Humor is good. I love the humor always, in such a challenging landscape right now, we have to inject humor, but we really need to continue to listen to each other, have time to listen,
Yeah.
and have time to be intentional in having conversations. I used to tell, and I think John Rich, I told you this one time. When you have someone in your office, you make them the most important person in that office. And that means no phone, nothing, just have the conversation. And I still continue to do that. Once in a while, though, I digress and I have to remind myself. But it's appreciated. I appreciated it when my leader did that to me before. So always put yourself in the other side of that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, for everyone who is watching us today and following this podcast, here's your weekly challenge. In the morning, I'd like for you to name the energy your team needs today. Name it. If you can't find a name, find a name. You know that I said that before. If you don't feel good, feel better. If you feel bad, feel better. So name that energy that your team has today. That's in the morning. In the midday, you regulate your presence or ask the question, are you modeling what you expect from them? And in the evening, reflect on the question, did your energy elevate or drain the room? And then I'd like for you to share your stories with us using hashtag Awaken the Leader. And we are live here in our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness. This is Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. Now, we're closing. I would like to ask Mila, first of all, thank you for showing us what it looks like to lead with clarity, care, courage, and with a lot of energy, never ending energy, never exhausted. And to our listeners, this journey isn't over until we say it's over, right?
Yep.
We catch us both, Mila and I, at Becker's Health in Chicago, on the conference in Chicago in April. If you haven't registered yet, register in the website in the Becker's Health. I think it's in the screen. We'll be on stage, but more importantly, we'll be in the community. We'll be sharing, we'll be learning, and we'll be growing with you. And until then, we'd like for us to understand that the best part of learning all these leadership concepts and philosophy is to lead with a purpose. You want to be intentional because your energy has to be channeled. You need to be able to align that with courage, and you want to stay beyond what you expect the day of. Because when you increase your expectation of yourself, you will live up to it. If you increase the level of expectations of your team members or your staff or your leaders, they will live up to it. They cannot go beyond that. You will have to keep raising the bar because they will keep reaching it. That's what leaders are for. You keep them growing. And until that is done, the leaders will just have a position title. Because leadership is really not a position. Do you agree with this?
I absolutely agree with you on that one. Leadership is not a title. It's influence. It's impact. It's inspire. It's all the eyes. And so I think that whether you are a CNO, a director, a charge nurse, or an informal leader at the bedside, you are inspiring others. You are
Yeah.
influencing and impacting others.
Yeah.
And I want our profession to actually be known as a profession of leaders from the bedside all the way to the boardroom.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that. People keep saying that if you're a leader, you are somebody who has authority, and that may be true to some extent. But really, the difference between a leader and everybody else is that a leader has followers, and that is why there's not a lot of leaders, because you have to choose to follow a leader. If the person doesn't have followers, he is just person with a position title. It's not a leader. A leader has somebody who choose to follow him. So that's what differentiates the leader from everybody else. And I kind of like that because you can feel that wherever you go, some people just stand up, and you can even look at your team, right? They don't have, let's say they're all directors, and somebody will stand out to be the leader of all the directors. If you have a staff, you can pretty much sure there's somebody there that will stand up to become the leader. It's that like the nature in us. It's the level of awareness of the energy that you have and the frequency you operate in that makes you do that beyond the instinct, fight or flight.
Well, and to your point, Jen Rich, I did a presentation on awakening the leader in you. And
Oh,
sometimes there are some events that actually would awaken that deep seated leadership that is already innate in us. And so, just like Mahatma Gandhi, how did he actually become a leader when he was told in the train to actually get out? And that created a burning desire to speak for a group of people. And that's how you awaken the leader in someone, different ways of
yeah.
awakening the leader in you. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's how we call this podcast. Close, and this is our final plug for the day. Thank you very much, Dr. Mila Sprouse, for gracing our podcast today. And I hope you will come back for our next episodes in the future and some partnerships in the future as well. This has been Beyond Health and Wellness. We are in season 2 of our podcast, and this is episode 9. We were talking about things like awakening the leader within, which Dr. Sprouse very profoundly shared with us her insights about energy, about influence, about inclusive impact. And I'm sure that everyone of us enjoyed and learned as much as I did myself. And for sure, we will have some more in the future. So thank you very much, Dr. Sprouse, for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to more invitations.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone. Spend the rest of your day today enjoying the good sunshine wherever you are. And for Texas, have a good night and good weekend for everyone. We'll see you back on Friday. Don't be lost. It's right here at stream.lawin.net. We're also live in YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. We'll see you then. Thank you. Bye bye.